Good, happy Sunday morning, March 22, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Sunday morning, so let's begin. First up, 10 new cases reported in New Hampshire of COVID-19. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Why choose Century Roofing? You've met my team, the best in the business. Is a lifetime warranty good enough for you? And payment options, financing is available, and we accept all credit cards.
Century Roofing, we got you covered.
Now to breaking news. State health officials have just announced 10 new cases of coronavirus in New Hampshire. That brings the total number of cases right now to 65 in the state. There are currently 959 tests pending, and more than 750 people are now being monitored for the virus. We'll continue to bring you updates as we get those into the newsroom.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Rochester couple on board cruise ship repeatedly turned from Pope or Norwegian jewel set out February 28th. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Cherise LeClaire.
I'm your Century Roofing foreman.
And I'm customer service.
And I'm the installer.
We're the Century Roofing team. Call us today.
Century Roofing, we got you covered.
They said that they're definitely feeling pretty scared.
Heather Stover was supposed to be picking up her parents, Bob and Cindy Jennis, from Logan Airport today after a 3-week cruise. They embarked back on February 28th from Australia for a bucket list trip of sorts. Her mom, on a journey in the name of her father, who has since passed away, was stationed in New Caledonia in the South Pacific in World War II. Their time on board the ship now indefinitely extended.
They've had several different ports cancel their disembarkment. They've made several flights out of different ports, Fiji and New Zealand, and have been, had all of those canceled. Currently, they're on their way to Hawaii.
Hawaii is allowing the ship to make port, fuel up, and get supplies, but then leave. Passengers will not be allowed to disembark. Hawaii's Department of Transportation Harbors Division says all of the state's resources are being spent on containment and, quote, allowing more than 2,500 passengers and crew to disembark will further strain these resources.
Very kind of scary for them because they don't know when they're going to be able to get off. And each time they get told that, they have a port to accept them, and then, a day later they're told no, and it's just a big, drop of the heart there.
So far, none of the passengers have tested positive for coronavirus. Sanitation measures are being taken aboard the ship, and Heather says despite the fact her father is running out of his medicine, her parents are trying to remain optimistic.
Not knowing when they'll come back is a lot harder.
And now Heather is working with state officials. Senator Hassan's press secretary telling us in a statement, quote, our office is in touch with the Jennis family, and we are working with Governor Sununu and the New Hampshire congressional delegation to pursue all available options to get them home. If other constituents or their families need assistance, they should call our Manchester office at 622-2204.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Sununu, state working on plan to ramp up production of personal protective equipment. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
I'm your Century Roofing foreman.
And I'm customer service.
And I'm the installer.
We're the Century Roofing team. Call us today.
Century Roofing, we got you covered.
New Hampshire hospitals are preparing for a possible rush in the number of patients due to COVID-19.
We are getting ready for a tsunami of patients while really hoping that we only wind up with an astronomical high tide.
But the system is already seeing a strain on supplies as they deal with current numbers. Governor Sununu says New Hampshire's personal protective equipment is dwindling.
We still have a few weeks of supply. Most hospitals have a few weeks of supply. Our orders are in from the commercial market.
To help increase the number of supplies, the state is now turning to local manufacturing companies to produce protective gear, such as gowns, masks, and rubber gloves.
We started contacting companies, calls started coming in. We have dozens of companies across the state that have been willing to step up, kind of change their model of what they do to help participate in helping through this crisis.
The details are still being worked on as the state figures out what materials each company can produce. The governor expects a more formalized plan in the next 24 to 48 hours.
This is going to be for the long haul, right? So allowing that process to take place now in the early days will really give us some security on the back end.
Meantime, the governor says the state will also expand its capacity to conduct COVID-19 testing.
We are one of the top states in the country in terms of a per capita basis, in terms of the number of tests we've been able to do, which is great. Over the next week, we should see a lot more testing capacity come online in the state, not just doubling, but like tripling or quadrupling the number of tests we can do.
And again, the governor issuing another emergency order to stop the spread of coronavirus here in New Hampshire, banning reusable bags from local grocery and retail stores. Live here in Concord tonight, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Governor bans reusable shopping bags. Governor Chris Sununu on Sunday issued an order to prohibit reusable shopping bags at stores in the state, saying that they pose a risk of spreading the coronavirus. The emergency order applies to grocery stores, supermarkets, convenience stores, and other retail establishments. Our grocery store workers are on the front lines of COVID-19, working around the clock to keep New Hampshire families fed, Sununu said in a statement. With identified community transmission, it's important that shoppers keep their reusable bags at home, given the potential risk to baggers, grocers, and customers. This emergency order directs all groceries and retail stores in the state to temporarily transition to only use new paper or plastic grocery bags provided by the store as soon as feasibly possible. New Hampshire hospitals put out plea for donations of personal protective gear. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tyler Dumont.
I'm your Century Roofing foreman.
And I'm customer service.
And I'm the installer.
We're the Century Roofing team. Call us today.
Century Roofing, we got you covered.
Back room of a Nashua Science Lab, Bill Shungar is hard at work, trying to help cut down the state's growing coronavirus pandemic.
We haven't yet hit the surge of cases. It's coming.
Shungar is among a group of volunteers trying to help replace the depleting inventory of personal protective equipment at New England hospitals. An issue highlighted Friday in a letter sent by Governor Chris Sununu to the White House. The governor calling supply levels, quote, dangerously low.
The hope is really to keep our medical professionals safe because they're doing a great job. They need the help.
Shangar and his team are aiming to use alternative materials to replace the N95 respirator mask, which covers the nose and mouth.
Non-woven polypropylene. So in this case, landscape fabric or, reusable shopping bags.
They're also trying to assemble face shields, similar to those used professionally like this one. Using an open source design and a laser cutter his organization already had, with a few clicks, sheets of plastic and foam are sliced out, and in just 1, 2, 3 quick steps, the shield is assembled and ready to be sent off to the hospital.
Protects you from the airborne droplets coming down from above. It wraps most of your face from the side.
Hospitals in the Granite State have been putting out pleas for help.
Masks, gowns, gloves, and hand sanitizer.
While overall supplies may be okay today, it may not be tomorrow.
We are getting ready for a tsunami of patients while really hoping that we only wind up with an astronomical high tide.
Shangar and his team have already scheduled meetings with area hospitals to make sure their masks and face shields match the sanitation standards. If they get the go-ahead, they hope to make thousands of masks and face shields right away. Reporting in Manchester, Tyler Dumont, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Hudson local business gets creative with remote classes. Granite State American Karate and Hudson Kickboxing start remote classes. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I'm your Century Roofing foreman.
And I'm customer service.
And I'm the installer.
We're the Century Roofing team. Call us today.
Century Roofing, we got you covered.
This isn't a typical fitness class, but hardly anything these days is typical.
It's a village right now. We got to be a huge, enormous village.
Kevin and Janelle Noviello are trying to bring a sense of calm and normalcy in the face of uncertainty.
What are we going to be able to do to keep people feeling good about themselves?
Their businesses, Granite State American Kenpo Karate and Hudson Kickboxing, ended in-person classes almost a week ago, so they had to get creative.
If I hold the object out, he has to hit it 3 times.
Like so many, they've gone remote, using livestream, Zoom, and YouTube to get their members off the couch and moving. This is a virtual martial arts class with about 20 kids participating from their homes.
Yeah, is it about business? Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, but it's also about giving back as much as we can. But we have to have a yes, I can attitude.
Yes,
right?
I can.
Yes, I can, no matter what.
Go!
Adults also getting active through fitness kickboxing. Videos and challenges being shared online along with 2 live feeds a day.
We need to keep them active. We need to keep them moving. Boost their immune system. We have to stay active because these are dark times right now out there. It's scary.
Noviello hopes to keep this going as long as possible.
I mean, they'll have to shut us down. Like, literally shut us down.
Absolutely.
You know, and if they shut me down here, I got my cellar, I'm going to do it there.
Gotta love that positive attitude, right? Well, owners did have to make some difficult staffing changes, but they hope to keep their employees working as much as possible.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire, a list of religious services live streaming aimed coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak. Online church services in New Hampshire. Many churches will be closed today due to the COVID-19. Below is a list of religious services in places they will be live streamed online this weekend in the Granite State. If you would like to have your place or worship added to the list, please email community@wmur.com with the name, time, and link to your live stream. And here's a couple of the places that will be doing it today. And you can see this complete list on WMUR.com. As you can see, a big list there, so many choices to choose from. Hospitals under pressure from the outbreak. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Now to America's hospitals trying not to buckle under the pressure of the outbreak. Hard-hit facilities across the country running out of bed space, supplies deep in the red. One hospital developing a new way to disinfect and reuse masks. Here's ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi.
Tonight, the massive surge of coronavirus patients slamming hospitals in hard-hit areas coast to coast. Many now running dangerously low on critical supplies.
We're short on PPE that a lot of folks are short on around the country. Masks, face shields.
The national shortages of that protective gear, such as N95 masks, forcing doctors to make difficult decisions.
I've never seen anything like this, where we're literally having to hold on to our own masks.
Tonight, authorities predicting we're still several weeks away from the peak of the virus, and some hospitals say they're running out of space.
We are the United States of America. We should not have to be in a position where we have people die simply because we don't have adequate supplies or adequate beds or adequate workforce.
Officials in New York purchasing more than 2 million new masks and 6,000 ventilators, but warn they may need more. The governor says the Army Corps of Engineers will build makeshift hospitals at 4 locations, including the Javits Center in Manhattan. California receiving a shipment of protective equipment today and says it's leasing 2 hospitals to increase the number of available beds. Officials at Nebraska Medicine in Omaha predict they could run out of masks in the coming days or weeks and developed a new way to disinfect and reuse the masks they have using UV light.
UV light damages cells to the point where cells can die and inactivates the virus so that it can't infect anyone else.
Tonight, we're taking you inside a hospital battling the coronavirus pandemic. Ochsner Medical Center in New Orleans showing ABC News how they're using these special respirator masks. They're called PAPRs, battery operated with a special feature. It purifies contaminated air through a filter, then sends that clean air into the face shield. Just one part of the PPE, the personal protective equipment now being used.
We have to safely take care of these patients to protect our healthcare workers, but also make sure that we're still going to have equipment to take care of the patient that's coming in next week and the week after that.
Dr. Brady Creek is a pulmonary and critical care physician. Just like anyone else treating COVID-19 patients, he has to have his temperature checked before he starts. More and more patients are coming in with major respiratory problems, and they're taken into this special isolated area, a process that can take a toll even on the staff.
As healthcare workers, of course, we treat with compassion, and right now we're faced with having to separate these people with these diagnoses away from their families to protect them, to protect their family, to protect the community.
Stress and the emotional toll right there in those healthcare workers on the front lines. Mona Kosar-Abdi joins us, and Mona, Vice President Pence now asking businesses across the country to donate supplies to hospitals.
That's right, Tom. The vice president is asking companies to go into their storerooms and donate any N95 masks to their local hospitals. And we know that several medical television shows, including ABC's Grey's Anatomy, are doing just that. Tom?
Mona Kosar-Abdi for us tonight. Mona, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday morning. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everyone. I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.